Welcome, everyone, to the Something's Annual Greater Than Games Annual Review. I am Christopher Badell, and this is Paul Bender, President of Greater Than Games.
Yes, I am Paul Bender.
Yes. Yes.
This is probably the 10th one of these that we've done. I think that is probably true.
But it's not the 10th annual.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like 10th basically annual, except for some years because the thing happened in 2020 or whatever.
Oh, we didn't do one of these in 2011. That'd be weird.
Right, that'd be weird.
And I don't know that we did one of these in 2012.
I don't know either. In fact,
Andy, when did we start doing
do you know
these?
what? I think that this is the 10th anniversary, maybe.
I don't think
But
so.
not the 10th one.
I don't think we started doing these until like 2014 or 15 at the earliest.
Interesting.
Andy?
Did we do one in 2013? As he...
Oh, Take Walker's
Take
not
Walker wouldn't know.
here. Jesse Garrison. I've doxed him now. Haha.
The official, unofficial secretary.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, regardless of what has happened in the past, we're here to talk about the present and the future. We're just going to talk about kind of what's been going on with Greater Than Games, what we're up to next, and then answer any questions you may have. In case you didn't hear, last year, technically the year before, but at the very end of it, we became part of a company called Flat River Group. And that has been going. It's been going well. It has been a bunch of changes in a bunch of ways that have been in many ways uncomfortable, but that is the way with change and progress. But it is as a result, we've got a bunch of new games that are coming out. We're part of a bigger conglomerate of publishing now, and we're still putting out Sentinels of the Multiverse games, Spirit Island games, and lots of cool new things that we're very excited about too. We have some of those things coming out the show. We have Perfect Match that just came out. Compounded
and then he got stuck on a train.
He got stuck on a train. Yeah. Compounded and Lab Notes are coming out soon, very, very soon. And
Also on a train.
we have License
boat,
to Grill currently on crowdfunding. If you have on BackerKit, if you haven't seen License to Grill, I highly recommend checking it out. It is the kind of game that's like, oh, this is like seems like a fun family weight game, and it is. But it's really, really, really good. Like, it's not the kind of game that normally I gravitate towards, and yet it's very fun. I highly recommend it.
It's about grilling.
It's about grilling. It is. It's about grilling food in your backyard competitively.
Yeah, so that is the kind of like stuff that brand new releases that we're here right now.
Yeah.
And we've got our evergreen titles like Spirit Island. So Spirit Island, we just came out with Nature Incarnate at the show, and a bunch of other cool stuff related to that. And we're working on future plans for various things for Spirit Island. In fact, the thing that we're discussing right now internally is there are some requests for a few accessory type things or other like lifestyle improvements to the game. So
fancy island boards.
Yeah. But anything like that if you're
Panels.
like a Spirit Island fan and you're like, yes, I really, really would like this thing, I would totally buy it, it would enhance my game, let us know. One of those things that you're going to say is a storage box for all of Spirit Island. And I've considered starting a furniture company, which is what would be required to make a storage solution for Spirit Island.
I have a really nice cedar chest.
Yeah. I think that like something with dovetails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hand-cut dovetails. You know, we could just sell like a custom dresser
Yeah.
to everyone who wants one for Spirit Island.
Or if you want like a more like less custom, more affordable flat pack sort of thing, there's this new exciting Swedish company called IKEA.
Oh, that's
that
true,
is making
yes.
really great Spirit Island.
Yes, very good
organizers.
storage solutions.
Yeah.
We've partnered with them
Yes. We are sponsoring them, but they're not sponsoring
somehow.
us.
But we've got a lot of cool, exciting things about Spirit Island
Yeah.
with Sentinels of the Multiverse and Sentinel Comics generally.
Sentinel Comics the RPG is getting more attention finally than it has in the last couple of years, just because between pandemic times and a bunch of other workload things, the Sentinel Comics RPG was forced to take a backseat for a little while. That has kind of sorted itself out, and we have an exciting new team of people working on
Yes.
things, getting content done faster than ever, and so we're very excited for a bunch of new Sentinel Comics RPG content. Nick was running the Terraforms adventure in the room today, and it's an adventure we just released for the RPG called Terraforms. It's available for purchase in the booth for $4.95. It's very good.
I am so excited about it because not only is it new Sentinel Comics RPG content, but one of the things that is letting us accelerate more and more and more of that content out is that I have had an opportunity to learn how InDesign works.
Paul
And I
Bender.
laid out terraforms. I didn't do any of the art or actual like graphical elements. That's like for an artist that has, and graphic designers that have skills that I don't have. But I can make things line up on a page, and I did it for terraforms.
Paul Bender, division president of Greater Than Games, junior graphic designer.
Yeah. The best.
Pretty
So anyway,
exciting.
that's been a really fun side project.
It has, and it's been fun for me as well because it means that like Paul and I get to do some like 2011 style trenches of like,
Yeah.
all right, we're making the thing
Yeah.
in a garage. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah, so it's been a really nice thing with the like Flat River Group purchase. I don't have to worry about like
HR.
the HR and
Payroll.
accounting and other stuff like that, and I've got time for actual like game development stuff and working on projects like this and things like that. So that's been really exciting.
Yeah. Sentinels of the Multiverse, we earlier this year did a crowdfunding campaign for Dispiration, the
That's true.
second expansion, the third product for the Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition line. Playtesting is continuing on that. It's not taking longer than expected because we actually manage expectations, whether or not people read it, as part of that campaign of like, we learned in the making of the Rook City Renegades expansion that this is more work than we thought, which is fine. We're just going to let things take the amount of time they need to take to be done correctly. And so we're doing that now, and that's going very well. And that will be out sometime next year.
Yep. And then we've just been like supporting and doing events. Even for this Gen Con, we've been planning events for a number of our evergreen titles that are cool, like Medium, Kill Dr. Lucky, and there's a big live Kill Dr. Lucky thing here, and some other stuff like that, which has been good.
Speaking of a big live thing,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, Saturday we're doing the first ever mega game for Spirit Island. Is anybody here in that? Are you playing in it?
What? Nice.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're doing a 32-player game of Spirit Island.
So if you want to see that, drop by and just briefly and see. I want to see it, so
It's
I'm going to help
in
run it.
Hoosier.
Yeah. It's in a place.
It's in Hoosier.
Okay, good. Anyway, so it's going to be a 32-player game of Spirit Island using the Archipelago rules.
It's
if
in
you're
Wabash
familiar with
1.
them. Yeah, Wabash 1.
ICC
Of course.
Wabash 1.
In this very building.
Wabash 1. Yeah. So it is a eight tables, each with 4 players at it, each playing their own
Three
islet.
players, right?
But it's a full island for Spirit Island, but it's an islet.
Okay.
And then there's one head table with all of the information for the whole game. So like the fear, which I think is like 128 fear you have to generate for each card you get. And then the single blight pool for the entire network of islands, and then like events and everything all happen to there. And so there's going to be minders at each table reporting up to the head table, and then all that stuff's going to come together to work, and everything's going to be on a timer to make things happen. Because this is a 4-hour event. We're going to get through a 32-player game of Spirit Island in 4 hours, and it's definitely going to work. And
I
it's
will
not
see
a
it when I
problem.
believe it.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be time to spare. So it'll be fine.
So even if you're not playing in it, if that sort of nonsense spectacle appeals to you,
Yeah,
you can,
I've
you can
actually-
pop in for 15 minutes and be like, ooh, that's a thing.
Yeah, Tom Vassell, who saw it, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You can come see it." He's like, "I can't be there for 4 hours." I'm like, "You could come for 5 minutes."
Yeah, you'll get the...
Any 5-minute slice of it should be pretty good.
It'll give you the
But,
vibe.
And if any one table finishes their island, if one table's playing real well and they manage to reach a victory condition on their table island, great. Close that island up, you're good to go. You can move to other neighboring tables. And so we're going to have like, this table, which was a 4-player setup, now has 6 spirits in this 4 table. Like, okay, so it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun.
That's a very fun, silly thing we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the show?
Yeah, the only other thing I have is that this evening,
Oh, yeah.
we're going to be showing off a lot of our upcoming games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be downstairs in our room 140. And we're going to be having prototypes of stuff, some of which are very close to being on crowdfunding or for sale, and some of which are a little bit farther out. So you will be able to see such things as Defenders of the Realm, the second edition.
Do we
that
have
we're...
towers at the places already?
I don't know. We might.
Probably should have asked that here.
There's a game called
definitely have-
Towers
yeah, there's a
that
game
that may or may not be there. Who could say?
and that we are probably going to do on crowdfunding next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, Compile.
True.
Compile's a big one. It's not. It's a small game.
Oh, Compile's very fun.
Compile's a medium-sized game.
Compile is a 2-player competitive
Card game.
card game.
It is a area control
You draft decks and then mix them together. It's very cool.
It's its own thing.
If you like things like vaguely, only very vaguely, in the direction of the kind of strategies of something like Magic the Gathering or something like that.
Yeah, but also like
sort of like
also
that a little teeny bit.
Yeah,
but it's not like
a competitive
booster
card
pack
game. It is a 2-player competitive card game.
Yeah.
that has an area control element that is unique to this kind of game, and it also has a lot of strategy in the picking of your decks at the
right, like the drafting part of it.
Yeah.
At the beginning. Anyway, it's kind of cool. It's pretty quick to
cool.
check out if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
And then we'll show off a very early version of a game called Center Chair.
Don't worry about that.
But we will show it off.
Just don't worry about it.
No, we're not worried. But we're showing.
Yeah. It's a game we're probably going to put out in 2026 or maybe 5.
Yeah, who could say?
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, Defenders of the Realm is good. We have all the 3D printed miniatures because that one is going to be on crowdfunding this fall. So we've got
and Compile will be doing early next year.
Early.
So Compile is quite far along. So the 2 games that we really recommend you check out are Defenders of the Realm, a cooperative. Is anybody familiar with the original Defenders of the Realm that came out like a decade plus ago? Yeah, it's a cooperative game made by Richard Lanius of Arkham Horror fame. Richard Lanius, who also collaborated with us on some Sentinels stuff a decade ago. Anyway, he made this game Defenders of the Realm that was like a fantasy. You play elf or dwarf with axe or bow, and you go into woods and you fight minions and monsters. And it was pretty good, but it was like very specific to that genre of like, I think the cover art of the game was done by Larry Elmore, and it's like, this is exactly this kind of game. And this is an update to it in a bunch of ways, in terms of art, in terms of mechanics, in terms of like making this a modern, exciting adaptation of that kind of game. And
in terms of us really getting our money's worth out of the 3D printer we got for the office.
Oh yeah, we made a lot of miniatures for this game. They're cool too. The sculpts are very cool. Anyway, so yeah, Defenders of the Realm, check it out, and then Compile, the 2-player card game. It's really, you play it once, you're like, oh, okay, I get it, and then the brain itchiness of it starts happening, where you're like, I want to play this more and more and more and more.
Yeah,
Speaking as a person who is not into that kind of game and yet plays that game a lot, it's very good. So it's been fun. The last few years especially has been fun to like stretch in terms of the types of things we make and find like the additional niches of types of games that we can really do well with the team that we have. Matt Kroll and Daryl Lauder and Chris Burton have all been really doing a ton of work in development on these games.
Yeah.
And it shows. So, okay.
Now is the time we warned you about.
Yeah, I think we've stalled long enough. And with the advent of this new person, now we can begin the question section. We've been waiting for you. Thank you so much. Perfect timing. So, if you have any questions, you may ask them. If you don't have questions, we will sit and stare at you creepily for 43 minutes. Fantastic. Good. Question. Yes. Yes, I believe that starts at 7 p.m.?
That sounds right. Yes.
But I'm going to look at a schedule. So, it is 7 because it's on the schedule for 6, but that is the
because for setup, for the people, for staff.
Yeah.
It's at 7.
7 p.m.
7 o'clock. For
in demo room 140/141. Same room.
Yeah, and it is going to be, it'll go for at least 2 hours.
It will go for at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see, and we got some the game designers here and all the developers here, and they'll be able to show stuff off. It'll be cool. I'm going to be there hanging out.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yep. Perfect. Good question. Other questions? Now that the question ice has been broken,
any questions?
The flood may begin.
Every time I say that, I start thinking about David Pumpkins.
Yeah. David S. Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins.
He has a middle initial now.
Yeah.
No. Please.
Ooh, okay, so this is a good question. Right, yeah.
I know who's most responsible for it, but it wasn't his idea.
Yeah, so basically, it was definitely the kind of thing where we were talking about it, and like some people on BGG have done it digitally.
This is a trick. The giant games, on BGG and on Reddit, people are playing like 60-player games, or like 60 spirit games, because there's one guy who played, it was every spirit and every possible aspect.
Right.
Correct. Of doing all of these, like every possible iteration you could do in one game. And it was just one guy solo playing this, and it took him days or weeks or months or years or something, and to like iterate and make the whole thing happen. Okay, great. And we were like, okay, we could do a thing like this in person though. Like there'd have to be some limitations.
Right. It was basically the thought experiment. Like, oh, could we do this in person? I think we could do this in person.
Yeah.
And then we spent a lot of time thinking if we could, and never asked if we should.
Oh.
And then now this is what's happening, and we're going to see how it goes.
And we're calling this the first annual Spirit Island Mega event, Mega game, because we are very confident.
Deeply confident that
perhaps unwisely so, that this is going to go well. And then next year, we could run, we're just doing the one, this show. We hope to do more than one next year.
Yeah, next year it'll just be 24 hours
0,
a day.
depending on how
constant
Saturday
giant
goes.
Spirit Island, you know?
Right.
Yes, exactly. See,
it can happen.
New ones pop up as they clear. It's a whole thing.
You sink your
running
island
the
to
entire
board.
convention, right? And you've got a
Spirit Island Con.
Yeah, Spirit Island Con.
That's right. You heard it here first. It's definitely happening.
Nice.
For sure, we can confirm that is going to happen.
We could actually do a Spirit Island Con.
Of course we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be no problem.
Yeah. Maybe Eric would come.
And I'm gamifying it out.
No, it's probably not. Okay. Great question. So the answer is it was a joint thought
experiment. But Nick, who is in the last couple of years has been like the main contractor project managing Spirit Island, just Spirit Island.
Nick is one of the people who worked with me on Nature Incarnate. And
Horizons.
Yes, yeah. Nick did a bunch of work on Horizons as well. But Nick and myself and Ted and Amelia were the devs who created Nature Incarnate, where Nature Incarnate was the first time that we did a Spirit Island expansion in a different way, where instead of Eric like doing everything start to finish with people helping him and editing as we go, it was Eric's like, here's some ideas for some spirits, okay, bye, and then we did all of the work, and every so often it would be like, Eric, this is what we're doing, and most of the time we'd be like, oh, cool, and most of the time we'd be like, I don't like that. We're like, great, fix it. And so that accelerated the creation of Nature Incarnate notably. It made it possible at all. And so that was great. And part of that process, we discovered that Nick, a person that we hired to be the contractor for this one project, was a much more broadly, holistically useful contractor to us, who has been doing ongoing Spirit Island work with us, but also development and editing work for the Sentinel Comics role-playing game, and we hope to have him work on other games as well. He is now a full-time contractor with us, and he is here running games at the show as we speak, and it is also going to be the person running the head table at the mega event. He'll be at the head table. I will be running around wildly, screaming, and then Paul and various other people will be standing at each table collecting information and transmitting it to the head table. It'll be a whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, it was our idea, and then we said, Nick, make this happen. Yes. And he goes, oh, that would never work. And then I think like half an hour later he goes, well, you could do it this way. I'm like, that's the way we're going to do it. Obviously, that's what we meant. Obviously, don't be ridiculous.
I have a question now.
What?
That's related to Spirit Island and also Handelabra Games.
Oh, yeah.
Which is when the next Spirit Island content. Oh, yeah.
Jay.
So if you're a fan of Spirit Island, you might have noticed we just launched Horizons of Spirit Island digitally. You can get that on Steam as a DLC, and the way it works on mobile, you can actually download Spirit Island for free and try it out, and then you can buy Horizons as a way in, or the core game as a way in, or both. And Branch and Claw.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, so then what comes after that? Well, Jagged Earth, of course. A lot of people want to know what's coming with Jagged Earth. It is under development as we speak. As soon as we were done with Horizons, we started working on Jagged Earth. The cool thing about Jagged Earth is it's huge.
Yeah.
And we decided we don't want everybody to have to wait for the whole thing to be done before you're going to play with it. So one of our first development processes is to break it down into chunks, and we're going to let you buy them in chunks, basically. So because we know aspects are really popular, we want to be able to start getting aspects out. None of this is confirmed as the order yet. I want to be clear.
This is just stream of consciousness.
Everything that Jay says right here, right now, is guaranteed, verified. Can you give us some specific dates and times of all the launches?
Yeah, the first one comes out next Wednesday.
Perfect.
Put it on Reddit. It's true. Confirmed.
I'm going to text John right now.
The thing that John may yell at me about, because I will say this, is we are actually hoping to get at least something out by the end of this calendar year. What that will be, we don't know yet because we're working on it, but that is the current
It will be an apology.
desire, not plan, desire. That is our desire.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. I love that.
I've got so many things that I desire as well, so I
Me
understand.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of desires, very few plans. Yeah. Very cool.
That's the Spirit Island Digital.
Nice.
I am excited that you're chewing on Jagged Earth because that's a lot to chew.
And look, I mean, our engine people are already like halfway through like some of the powers and other kind of stuff. I mean,
Oh, nice.
that's just the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
step, but
Right.
like they're digging into it. They're
Yep.
loving everything that's coming.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Good question, Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Andy, I see your hand up. Do you have a question?
Andy rarely has questions,
Yeah.
so it's really nice when he comes and brings them to us.
There's different ways to measure the size of a company,
We agree.
That's true,
right? It could be sales or maybe employees or I'm not even sure what else.
right?
Square footage.
Mass.
What has been going on with the size of Greater Than Games, particularly since the acquisition, and what do you expect the future to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the size, I'm going to give you a bunch of different ways to measure the size of Greater Than Games. And I'm going to tell you how it's doing on all those metrics. So in terms of the size of games that we publish, it has gone up pretty steadily
Yeah.
over the years. And it has spiked up a little bit. Yes. Well, see, both. See, this is a great thing. The boxes are getting bigger, and the quantity of the boxes is getting bigger. And
The amount of stuff in the boxes is also getting better. We're
And
not
I
just
believe-
artificially inflating the boxes.
that the quality is getting better.
Yeah, that's true.
It actually just genuinely is. We're better at editing now.
Yep.
And game design.
Yep.
So that's really good. The processes have improved to make that happen. So now we have a system set up where Matt Kroll project manages game development and Saray Henderson project manages graphic design and production and things like that. And they both have teams of people under them. And that stepping through that happens has been excellent. And it's just been since, that's another thing that we had the opportunity to do with the FRG acquisition that's been really, really nice, is kind of just reorganize and orient people to really focus on that game development stuff, which has been awesome. So it's just now starting to really bear fruit of all the stuff that's coming out of that pipeline, which is very exciting. In terms of the square footage of our office, it is the same as it was in 2020. We're in the same place we moved into in the fall of 2020. And it is very nice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the number of
warehouse.
people who work in those offices, it is very similar to what it was then. There's been a few things, like there's people now that, so Katie Nail,
Who was our
works
customer service person for
a while,
years.
and then was the, when Jen Clausen left, Katie Nail became the director of publication director.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the title was. Well, now Katie Nail is technically now not in the Greater Than Games division of FRG and is instead working on coordinating a lot of marketing and sales things for the overall FRG hobby group.
She's like director of hobby marketing.
Director of hobby sales, director of hobby marketing, something like that is what Katie Nail is.
Titles are very challenging.
But Katie's office is still the same office next to mine.
Right. There's a bunch of people in the Greater Than Games offices that are still in the Greater Than Games offices, but have been moved from the Greater Than Games umbrella to the FRG umbrella.
Right.
Only
So-
because what the thing that they do was not a role that somebody in FRG had, and one of the reasons that FRG wanted to acquire us was to move into being able to do more convention things and make sort of things in a way that they'd never done before. They're like, ooh, we want to do that, and you're good at the thing. So let's do that, but we don't want to just do it on the GTG level. We want to do it on the FRG level. Like if you've seen our booth or our demo room here, Greater Than Games has certainly a notable massive presence there, but it is also FRG, Flat River Group space. And so for that to happen, Katie and Juana needed to be in charge of those things in an FRG sense, not just a GTG sense.
Yeah, so it's interesting basically to talk about, so like roughly the same number of humans, except depending on how you measure them, like the people who are like labeled as under the GTG specifically umbrella is smaller because some people have been slurped up into the overall FRG hobby thing when there are roles that are like broadly applicable to multiple things under there.
Yeah, anybody that is doing like sales of games from us to distributors is naturally under FRG now because they're
Right.
doing sales of FRG games, some of which are greater than games.
Right. So people who work in St. Louis who you might know, like Katie Nail and Tawana Price and Matt Bender
Yep.
and Arturo Moreno all are in St. Louis, but technically FRG.
And same thing with the warehouse.
Yeah.
The whole
warehouse
crew
is now
is the FRG.
FRG, yeah.
Because they're not just handling Greater Than Games
Right,
products,
they've got
of
other
course,
stuff.
naturally.
Yeah.
So what Greater Than Games is within FRG is a design and publication studio where we make games. Some like Sentinels of the Multiverse that are made entirely in-house, and some like Spirit Island that are made mostly in-house but with an outside designer. And that's kind of actually the two big
That's what we do.
categories.
That's
because that's what like License to Grill and a lot of other games are, where it's like,
Right.
oh, sure, an outside designer pitched it to us, but then we
work on it some
in-house.
amount, and it depends. And it's a thing where, like, there's a game like Medium where we did very little except just, like, turn it into a product.
Right.
And then there's games like the Center Chair game that I mentioned that we're working on now and have been working on for years and will continue to work on for many years.
Yeah.
And Spirit Island was in that category, too.
Right.
Like, oh, my gosh. Christopher first saw Spirit Island in 2012.
That's when I started working on Spirit Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. Origins.
Yeah.
Origins
2012.
Origins 2012 is when I met Eric because he was making a highly variable thematic cooperative tabletop game, and some people at Origins saw it and went, oh, you have to talk to Christopher. He is the person who does this thing. And Eric and I started talking, and the game was not what we would now think of as Spirit Island, but the steps were there to make it become that. And it had the pitch of, okay, you're spirits, you're on an island, you're repelling invaders. It's this kind of reverse 4X game. And he and I went from there to where we are now.
-4 A's, I think.
That's correct.
Or C, I guess.
C, it would be
C.
C, yeah.
-4
C.
C is
Yep.
the style of game.
Yep.
Heard it here first. That's the style of game that Spirit Island is, if anyone ever asks you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
You mentioned about like tokens and upgraded boards and stuff.
Yes.
And a box. You know, that too.
And a dresser.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Okay.
Nice.
Good to know. What do you
Yeah.
want?
Just, I mean, our boards and our tokens are looking a little ratty.
Okay. New
Yeah,
boards
yeah.
and tokens.
Any just plans for
Yeah.
non-cardboard tokens besides
Yes.
besides the 3D printed ones? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, we've actually got, so we do already have 2 sets of wooden tokens that replace them. So, and they're even in the booth here, if you want.
We
So,
have Premium Token Pack 1 and
Premium
the
Token Pack
cleverly
2 that just
named
came out.
Premium Token Pack 2. That's
and so what those contain are, they give you wooden replacements for,
Beasts, Wilds, Disease, Strife, Badlands, Fear,
but also, yeah, fear and energy.
Energy, yeah.
And
The
and
Incarna.
Incarna.
The Incarna
Yeah,
tokens,
from
right.
Nature Incarnate.
And the various like other specific tokens, like the Deeps tokens and the Quake tokens.
So between those 2 sets now at this
Yeah.
point, almost all of the punchboard cardboard tokens,
Can be
almost
replaced-
all,
can be replaced with wood.
can be replaced with wood if you want.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
The specific island boards.
That is the next.
the purview of
Yes,
the
exactly.
future thing that we're working on.
So what I want, I want to find a way. There's got to be a way to make really cool premium island boards like out of wood.
We have some people we're talking
Correct.
to about that.
We're in the process.
We're also working on life-size Spirit Island, where you just get an island and you transform into a spirit and you grow in power. It's pretty cool. It's pretty experimental. We're running into some issues, but we're working on it.
It's like Jurassic Park.
60, 70 bucks probably.
Yeah,
right there.
We think this one might go up like to the 80, 85, because it's right. I'm sorry, I'm breaking the bank here.
For Handelabra to implement that.
Oh yeah,
Act of God.
So no, we've got. I'm working on it. We've got. We could do like a VR integration, and you are the island.
So here's the question. Here's what you should come up with, but before the end of the year. You can just make, the wooden tokens we have for Spirit Island? You can just implement them digitally. And make a note right here.
Premium
so be like,
token
premium
pack.
token pack.
People
digital.
can buy for $40. They can turn their tokens.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
Your tokens go from
Your
looking like this in the game to a
render of
little
it
bit taller
changes slightly.
with the wood grain. It's been painted over, so you can't see the wood grain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can have content come out by the end of the year, no problem.
But yes, genuinely, in all seriousness, if there's certain things that Spirit Island fans are like, oh man, I would really like this component accessory.
So
type thing.
Definitely like
Now is the
premium
time.
island boards. Oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, now's the time to tell us what things you want so that we can go yes or no. There's some things that we'd like, oh, we'd love to do that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But like, if you want, for instance, a big, massive, conglomerated tome of all of the rules ever with every edge case type thing in one book that is like, there, the rules of Spirit Island. Yeah, that's the sort of thing we would consider doing for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes?
Don't you have to do like an art lore book?
Yeah, we've thought about that. We've done art lore books for other things before, and people are like conceptually interested in them, but then not actually interested in them when they come out. The trick with an art lore book, the art part is not hard because we have all this art, and we have access to a lot of artists who have done the art and could do more things to fill in corners and like give you some new cool arts. But it is nailing Eric down to be like, you need to write all this stuff down that lives here, and you've got some things here and here, and just put it all in one place, and like, let's do that thing. And that, understandably, speaking myself as a person who is currently in the process of doing that very thing with Sentinel Comics stuff, and it is a big ask and takes a lot of work and time and effort, and then asking Eric to do that, who is slightly more reticent to put to paper those same sort of thoughts, makes me think that that is not going to happen anytime soon. But it is a thing that we would all like to have. And Eric is also interested in doing such a thing. It's just like, okay, you gotta do the thing. It's a lot of work. So that was a kind of a yes-ish answer, but so.
We thought about it, but yeah,
We have thought about doing it.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Sounds great. Yes.
I want to. Are there like thinking about your expanding portfolio of games? Are there some like styles of game that Greater Than Games has never done before because the right one didn't come along that you would love to do in the future?
We'd love to do a mind-reading party game. Okay. There's a designer of Medium over here. Yeah, I know. But so this is the trick with us is less that we're looking for like, you know what we really want is a game that fits in this bucket. Every so often a game comes along and we're like, ooh, that game comes in a bucket that we don't have in our list of buckets.
And Medium was like that.
For us, for sure.
Right.
When we saw Medium, we were like, oh,
this is awesome.
we
want to do it.
We really want a party game, mind reading or otherwise. It's like, no, we just like something like that. And so, no.
It's definitely not.
I'm doing this for me because it's funny for me to call you out and like, oh, thank you for your question, but also you did a really good job making a game that we sell a lot of, and thank you very much. I feel like everybody wins.
Yeah,
it's good.
But another good example of that that's coming up is the game Compile.
We are not at all looking for a thing that's like, oh, we want a 2-player, head-to-head, competitive, somewhat quick, quite thinky, strategic, tactical card game. It's not a thing we were looking for, and we played it, and we're like, oh, this
really
fits
cool.
in our lineup really well because it doesn't do, like, a lot of people pitch highly thematic, asymmetrical, cooperative games to us, which I understand why, and love that. I love seeing it.
People
I love
should
working
do
on
that.
those. You
It's
should
great.
pitch those games to us. I want to see them. I want to work on them. And there's been a bunch of cooperative, thematic, asymmetrical board games that have been pitched to us, and I've played, and then I have lots of notes on, and I go, oh, we're not going to publish this for XYZ reasons, but I will talk about this with you all day. I'm very into it. This is my entire jam. We're extremely interested in games that don't look like anything we already have, to find the things like, because what we're looking for is less of, we're not doing a Pokemon thing, we're not trying to catch them all, we're trying to find the things that are like, this stands head and shoulders above, because we'd played a bunch of party games. We'd seen a lot of different party games around that same era, and Medium was the one that just kept sticking with us. It was like this one, like, I like the way this makes me think about the game, and I like how much I think about the game when I'm not playing the game. Great. That's what we want is like is diamonds in the rough, if you will. So I don't have a specific niche I'm looking for. Like, I've not done a roll and write, and I've not done specifically a deck builder other than.
Well, we're doing.
But I'm not looking to do that.
Lab Notes is a roll and write,
yeah, right.
and
That's
deck building. The deck building game is a deck builder.
Count. And the thing is, I'm not super keen to do a deck builder. So a bunch of deck building games, especially in the mid 20-teens, were pitched to us because, of course, they were, and there was none of them that made me go, oh yeah, that right there, that thing. And that's what I'm looking for is that spark. It's the I don't I don't know how to describe it, but I'll know it when I see it. So
What I'm looking for is a special edition, definitive edition of Deck Building, the deck building game.
yeah, anytime, man, anytime. Good question.
Well, see, that's the premium one. That's the higher level on the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
where you actually have a contractor come out and put a deck.
I
in
would
your
say
house.
there's a high enough level of the Kickstarter in which we will build a deck on the back of your house, whether you want us to or not. Andy Aronson, that's you.
What's the uptake of the role-playing game been, and do you envision organized play?
Ah, boy. So making the role-playing game in the first place was an exercise in learning a lot more about the role-playing game industry from the side of making a product in it. Paul and I have been fans of the role-playing game industry for quite a long time. We enjoy role-playing games. We like playing them. And we quite enjoyed making them as well. But it is very true. It is a weird fact of this industry. The role-playing game portion of the industry is much smaller than the board and card game portion of the industry. And the amount of time and effort it takes to make a role-playing game in general is much higher than the amount of time and effort it takes to make a card or board game. And there's like, oh, well, I can come up with some very quick, light, one-page RPGs that go very quickly. Yeah, I can also come up with some very quick and light, like 10-card, small card games that go very quickly, as compared to massive, sprawling role-playing games versus massive, sprawling card games, and board games. Having made all of these things, the RPGs just take way longer and sell way worse. It's just a fact. It's not like an indictment. It's just the truth of the size of the industry. So I want to do more with the role-playing game. I love Sentinel Comics, the role-playing game. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy making it. I enjoy writing it. It's very fun. We have a bunch more books we're going to do. Those are going to come out. We're in process on all of them. And
I'm so excited about them.
Yeah, and the more I work on them, the more excited I am about them. I don't, with the numbers we have on products that are moving, see a reasonable way to make organized play happen in a big way. It's a big organized way play plans of like doing big events at a lot of places. And I don't see a path to that right now, as much as I want that to happen. So we've talked about and are talking about various ways to do organized play in a less ambitious way, in a more of a like, okay, we can put out some like packets of information, people can play things, we can do things with that, and the bare minimum of that starting going forward, what we're doing is that like we just put the Terraforms adventure out at this show, and we want to be able to do at bare minimum yearly one shot that comes out at Gen Con and start trying to tie those into some bigger story. I have plenty of story. I have story that will never be told because I have thousands of pages of it, and it's fine. This is my life. Yeah, it's kind of a meandering answer, but...
So to answer one of the specific questions you asked is actually the Sentinel Comics role-playing game, interestingly, sells quite well for an indie RPG.
Yeah, very much so. It does. When we put it out on Drive-Thru RPG, it immediately jumped up into the top listings.
Yeah, so it is like a consistently like very good selling indie RPG.
Yeah.
But the only RPGs that really sell enough money to have organized play are like D&D and Pathfinder. And then some of the licensed ones.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. So that's where we are. So like we will keep making it because it sells well and we love it.
And I want to try to do some sort of community events where even like we put out a thing where it's like, oh, here's a challenge type thing that we're going to put out to people who are playing / GMing the game. Do this thing, and then we can like collect some data and do a thing. But it's going to be less of the formal organized play that we've seen from other games.
Yeah.
So. Yes.
Are you planning any crossover style events between like Spirit Island and Sentinels?
So, almost certainly not. As much as I would enjoy such a thing, the crossovers that occur between those two properties are unidirectional. Sentinels acknowledges the existence of Spirit Island. Yeah.
Speaking of Sentinels, maybe this is like a feeling I got. I didn't actually count them, but I think in Desperation, there's going to be more original content to Definitive Edition than there was in Rook City, maybe not?
No, so it's still one hero, 3 villains, 1 environment. There's a bunch of variants. There's a ton more variants in Desperation, and those are a lot of original stuff. But in terms of decks, same number of decks, but then there's a bunch of other content, so yeah.
Well,
Either way, when Definitive Edition has kind of caught up, I guess, to 1.0.
Yes.
Do you plan to continue to make new original decks, or is it kind of like there's going to be some original mixed in with the?
So there is the overarching plan that we wrote out years ago of these are the products that we're going to make for Definitive Edition, and they cover all the things, the final one being Oblivion. And it's not that I won't say, it's that I'll tell you the absolute truth, which is I am not making a plan as to if there will be more content after that or not. Because right now at this point, it is rank foolishness for me to say, and this is how I will feel about making more of these products and how the audience will feel about making more of these products in the year 2028 or whatever it is when this is done. Like, if the process of the last 10 years of me making these games has taught me anything, it's don't plan for 10 years from now. Like, I have ideas and I have a spreadsheet of like, this is what I'm definitely doing, and then these are the things that within the definite doing stuff, there's wiggly stuff. I just recently, just last week, moved a thing from one of those products to another one. I was like, I'm gonna swap those two actually. And like right up until I put ink on cardstock, like things are in flux there. And the further out from today something is, the more in flux it is. Just naturally, that makes sense. And then there is a point where it's like, the Oblivion set, and here's all the things I wanna do in that. And then there is a question mark column that is like a,
There are so many things that could be done.
I have a podcast called the Letters Page Podcast, and in that podcast, I have told some stories over the years. And the process of making that podcast really switched me from thinking about the thing that we had written up to this point as like, here's all the stories we've told as part of this, to, oh no, I can just tell stories forever in this. There was a moment when I was a teenager that I realized that I'm never going to read all the books that I want to read in my entire life. That there's so many books, and there's so many really good books, and there's new ones coming out all the time. And the thing I really want to do with all of my time is just read amazing books. But then there's all these other things to do. And the moment of realizing, I will in my life never read all the books I want to read, is similar to the way I feel about Sentinel Comics, where in my life I will never tell all the stories I want to tell. And so I'm just going to keep going until you people stop listening to me. Yeah, principles are new to that is a big new thing. Yeah.
Do the retail sales, because obviously the backer kit expansion has been successful.
Yeah.
Do the retail sales of the expansions and board game inspire that sort of potential to go past the original 6 boxes?
I mean, the question is, will they in many years?
Right.
Because like right now, the retail sales and the crowdfunding sales definitely are sufficient for us to do another one.
Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. So then we'll just see. So each one basically, and at that time you got to look at it and be like, okay, we could do. Is it good to do another one now? Oh yeah, for sure. And then you got to see how that one does. And then next, you know what I mean. So,
but this is the same way we got to Definitive Edition in the first place.
Yeah.
That the retail sales of core game of Sentinels of the Multiverse in 2019 were like, this game that originally in its original edition came out in 2011, and in its enhanced edition, the enhanced edition came out in 2012, and in 2019 was still selling pretty well. It's like, this is still going. Maybe it deserves an update. We'll just fix all the art. We'll leave all the text the same. We'll just fix all the art, and then several things happened, and here we are. We are keeping. This is kind of the question mark column of the spreadsheet. We're keeping our eyes open in terms of like, okay, how are things going? Does this warrant continuing? And the answer right now is emphatically yes. And what the future holds, we'd like to think. The thing I really want to happen is I get through Oblivion, and then great, that's awesome. And then I'm like smooth-brained past that point where I'm just like, maybe I make a ton more. Maybe I say that was it and it's perfect and it's done and we walk away from that and we do other things. Maybe it's, okay, that's the end of this card game and we make an entirely different game that like takes off from that point that is not the card game and it's not the RPG and it's not any other games we've ever done before. It's something new. Oh boy. So
it's a legacy deck building game. With booster packs?
No, I'm not doing booster packs.
And miniatures for some reason.
I could do a miniatures game.
Yeah, with booster packs.
No.
And Legacy.
Legacy I could do. I could do a
Okay, with Legacy you can do.
I've been doing a Legacy in Sentinel since 2011. 2010
exactly.
technically. He's the first hero I ever wrote.
Okay, Andy has another question. We're veering into Playgrader podcast land.
It's true. I'm sorry. We have less than 10 minutes left.
I know, that's great.
We've done a great job.
I mean, in terms of suddenly we start doing a bit and then that's that podcast.
All right, I'm going to throw out a complex one, and I fully expect you to grab parts of it and not all of it.
Fascinating.
All right.
We're going to try to grab all of it.
Okay, so we had a pandemic that we're in the tail of, right?
I've already given up.
Yes, I agree.
Um,
I grabbed that part.
Inflation, there are economic issues impacting things. And there's all kinds
that's a
of
complex
world
part.
unrest that's impacting our ability to work with China and printers.
Yes.
And a little while ago, there was quite a large rise in the cost of paper and printing, right? Okay.
Yes.
So given all of this, right, what are your, what's going on now, and what do you see coming in terms of pricing and sort of the industry as a whole in terms of how volumes of what people want is changing?
Wow. If I could answer that question, Andy, I would not have a job doing board games.
Yeah.
I would instead go get a job in financial services in the stock market and make so much more money.
Those exact questions are one of the things we attempted to answer with the way that the product line of Sentinels Definitive Edition is different from the product line for the original Sentinels, where Sentinels we had, the individual hero, villain, and environment decks that were sold in packs, and we had variant cards that you could get at shows, but then we also made available in other ways, and lots of side product type things. And with Definitive Edition, it's nope, big box, everything in big box, one big done, great. And that's both for being kinder to customers, but it's also for being more realistic about how printing stuff works and doing things in mass runs and things like that. So we're our answer to that question is in the pudding, as it were. It's in that, the actions that we take each year in terms of how we release products and how we crowdfund things versus how we just straight up release things. Like Perfect Match didn't go to crowdfunding, for instance. Things like that kind of point to our evolving attempts to reconcile the state of the world that we live in, which is bad.
But it's also very hard to predict, perhaps the orcas will ramp up their attacks on ocean shipping.
I hope they do.
And you won't be able to ship anything across the ocean at all.
Right, I'm into
Just
that plan.
Cargo containers go there, boom, sunk by orcas.
Yeah, right. So the trick is that it's because for instance with Sentinels Definitive Edition, when we started making it versus when it came out, things drastically changed. It was from the time that we started working on Definitive Edition to the release of the core game, everything's different. So games that we're working on now that we intend to come out next year, the year after that, the year after that, we don't know what conditions those games are coming out into, which is
And it also depends on what other people do. So if someone builds a very high quality paper printing game manufacturing factory in Monterrey, Mexico,
which they should do.
Amazing. I want to switch
Any of you out here
over
who
all
are
production
I really
there.
want to do this, talk to me. Let's do this.
Bring it up on a train. It would save so much time.
And money.
Oh, that'd be great.
It'd be great. It'd be really good. When they finish the new lock system in the river just south of St. Louis, and we can bring barges.
Yeah, you can put containers on barges in New Orleans, and then you can ship them up the Mississippi. Oh, yeah. But I really want to just be able to have things come in on trains the whole time, right?
Yep.
Because Kansas City Southern runs to Monterey, and then they run up to Kansas City and over to St. Louis. Oh, you could just get containers on that. Oh, be so
When
good.
I finish perfecting teleportation technology, it's going to be so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So that's kind of the, oh no, Trevor's making wrap it up hands. Benton, you had a question?
Yeah, have you considered unique presence tokens for spirits?
Yes.
That is a really good question. We've considered that. That has a challenge, which is that it is so many.
Yeah.
And also ever expanding if we keep making expansions.
So if we were to put
That's
out
the
unique
tension.
presence tokens, it would be 13 discs times 37.
Which is a definitely a large number.
Yeah. All right. Thank
Here we
you
are.
all so much for getting kicked out because we are done. Thank you all. If you have more questions for us, especially silly ones, come see us in a few hours.